So today I'm going to make the best of a bad situation. When life gives you lemons, well, if you can, make some lemonade. In this video I'm going to show you how to propagate Acerola cherry. First, the why. So this Acerola cherry fruited heavily for the first time just the other day. My wife made me aware, being red colourblind, I didn't notice myself that the fruit was covered in small red berries. And so we were all very excited and I said I'd pick them that afternoon. Well, I let it go too long and my dogs decided to pick the Acerola cherries for me and eat them for me, which is, you know, not the end of the world, but in doing so they actually broke down one half of the tree and they'd stripped some of the bark as those branches had broken. Unfortunately, to keep the tree nice and healthy, I had to prune off that entire side of the tree. And so I'm left with a lot of Acerola material. Now I could mulch this up and that'd be one good use for it, at least it wouldn't be wasted. But a better use is to use this to propagate Acerola cherries for other people. Acerolas are really easily propagated via cutting, and so that's what I'm going to do.
I take roughly finger-sized wood and cut the sections to about between 20 and 30 centimeters long. I remove all the side branching, and I am removing the leaves at this stage, but I'll finish doing that later once I've got them all together. I find this size is good. I've made successful cuttings with much smaller material. I've made successful cuttings with larger material. I'll do a bit of a range today just so you can see the difference between the size of the material. But the reality is Acerola are pretty easy and it won't matter too much. And I actually had to leave after I cut these yesterday, so try not to have to do this, but I just put them in a vase of water and that keeps the cuttings nice and fresh until I need them. Then it's as simple as keeping them the right way up and putting them in some loose soil. You'll read about propagation needing sand or whatever. I actually find when I do use sand, it dries out too quickly. And so I actually use a potting soil. I find that drains plenty well enough in my climate. I pull off the rest of the leaves just so there's no wasted water from the cuttings. Now you should plant them at least 2 of the nodes deep to give ample room for the roots to come out of. I usually go a bit deeper just because I've got deeper pots. And yeah, just put them straight into the pots. I'm going to put 2 in each pot and have a bit of redundancy. If I decide I want more of my cuttings to go on later to give away to people, I'll just split them up once they've got their roots. No biggie. I've got a range of sizes here. You can see the ones over here. Or did I have that upside down? Oh, that should be the right way up. I've got a range of sizes, some bigger, some smaller, so you'll be able to see if they all work or if perhaps one size works better. If you're confused about which way is up, because it can be hard to remember once you've done it, with Acerola, the leaf stalks or the twigs that will come out of the main stems always face upwards or outwards, so you can see if it's angled that way, then plant your cutting up that way. Now tamp them down, and I might top these up with a bit of extra potting soil, and then they'll go into my little nursery where I'll keep them well watered for the next month or so.
So after exactly 1 week, every single one of these cuttings has new shoots emerging from the nodes. Some are larger than others, but every single cutting has some growth. Now at this stage there won't be a lot of root growth. There'll be a callus forming at the bottom of these cuttings, and the very beginnings of the roots will be starting to form. But the fact that these are all shooting, you can see these fresh leaves, is a really good sign that these cuttings are well on their way to taking. It didn't seem to matter what size the cuttings were either. Now some of these were on the larger size. They're not the normal size I'd take for cuttings. For cuttings I'd normally take about my finger thickness, and you saw some of these were quite thick, but even those ones have taken just fine. So they seem to be pretty flexible in that regard as well. I'm pretty confident with these now, seeing this, so I'm going to stop the video here. In about a month, perhaps 2 if you're in a different climate than I am, you could split these up into their own pots and grow them on. Acerola are really easy to propagate, and hopefully this video has shown you just how easy they are. Thanks for watching.